Debbie here, and welcome back to my crafty den. So I'm doing something a little different today. I'm working on a loaded coffee sleeve, and I wanted to make a wand. I've never made a wand before, so I took one of these rosettes and glued it onto a paper straw and backed it with a piece of coordinating paper. And I thought that, and it was just a practice run, so that's all I did. And I used my hot glue gun to do it. And so I'm going to try to make some that are not so much coffee themed, but something that is pretty, that I can put in that coffee and donuts themed stuffed coffee sleeve. So I have this paper, and it's from an old Recollections pad that, what's it called? This is the pad, the old Recollections paper pad that I had, and it was 40. There's not much of it left. I've used and used and used this. It was called Flea Market, and it had like you can see, my cat's under the table and she's trying to bite my feet. So it had, I used this paper up. I wish I had some more of this left, but I've used that up. But see, it had these different, very vintagey looking papers in it. And this was one of them. And it looks like a bunch of old vintage lace doilies and things that are just down and then photographed. So I had this idea. I made these little shabby chic rosette flowers last week, the week before. It hasn't been that long ago anyway. And this will be up on the channel by the time you see this. You have to just excuse me. I'm having a hard time focusing and putting thoughts together today. I'm tired, and I think my fibro's kicking in just a little more than it usually does today. So anyway, I've decided that I want to make something that is about that size, but I want to make two of them. So I've cut 6 inches, 6 by 12 inches off of that piece of paper. And I'm going to score it I'm using this bone folder because every time I use the one that came with this scoreboard, I seem to push right through the paper. It's got a very, very sharp edge on it. And I know it's supposed to be for making a really sharp crease, but it's not. I mean, it's a little too sharp when you're cutting your paper in half. So I'm just going to try to hold this up here tight and score every ½ inch. I really haven't, I've only had this a little while, this scoreboard, but I'm telling you already, it makes a big difference because it would take me hours. See, I almost went through the paper even with this one because I tipped it forward a little bit too far. But yeah, it would take me hours because the only way I could score before was to, I was using my paper trimmer. So I would put it in and I'd use the score tool on the paper trimmer. And then I would go a ½ inch or a ¼ inch or whatever it was, and I'd make another score line, and you had to keep feeding it through. But that was very time consuming. And if you want to make a lot of something, so this is what I've come up with anyway. I'm going to use the 6 inch, 9.5. I lost track. I'm going to use this 6 inch piece of paper. And I'm going to cut it into 4 strips once I get it scored. And I'll use 2 strips each, and I'll make 2 of these flowers. I want one for my stuffed coffee sleeve, but I think I want to keep one for myself for something else too. And I'm thinking that this will be quite pretty. So I'm going to set that back there. I am going to put this back on now that it's all scored. I'm going to put this back on. So it was 6 inches. So I'm going to go to 4.5 because I want 4 1.5 inch strips. So I'm going to go to 4.5. Make sure that's good and straight. It's harder to tell now that it's... And I'm going to cut 4 of these strips. So 4.5. The next one would be 3. Get it nice and straight. And 1.5. And that'll give me 2 1.5 inch strips. So there I have enough to make 2 of these flowers. And I'm going to start folding. And from what I've seen, if you fold your first piece of paper up and you start with your second piece of paper and you fold it down, then you can glue these 2 together like this and you don't lose anything. And that gives you a nice good, you could glue them together like that, or you can glue them together underneath. I don't think it really matters how you glue them together, but you just overlap that one. So I'm going to start folding this. And I'm just going to accordion file it on those lines up and down and up and down. This, I've done this with this heavier, this is a cardstock paper, and it's heavier. It's easier with the thinner paper. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make all my folds and glue these strips together so I have 2 glued together. And when I'm ready to make my rosettes, I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do. Just a little heads up when you're gluing these. I was making a bunch and I made this one and my paper had a green edge on it. Like it was a kind of a striped patterned paper, and both of these had a green edge on it, and I wasn't careful when I glued them together, because if I had have been, I would have put the green on the outside all the way around. So just a heads up, if your paper has a pattern and you need to match it, you need to check that. My other green stripe is under that flower. So yeah, one thing I like about this channel of mine is that I can show my mistakes as well, because if there isn't a better place to learn from somebody's mistakes or somebody else's mistakes, yeah, I don't know what it would be. YouTube's a great place. Learn from somebody else's mistakes. Don't do what they do. So I'm ready to turn these into rosettes. So what I'm going to do is take just a little circle disc. My glue gun is over there, and then the cord just isn't long enough to reach here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend these down like this. Whoops, that one just wanted to pop right back up again. I'm going to bend it down like this, put it together like this, and shove it tight in the middle and hold it down. I'll do it over there. I'm going to put hot glue on here, and I'm going to stick it down like that on the back side so that these will be uniform. And so I'm just going to go over and do that. Okay, so that was easy. I've got 2 big circles glued onto the back. And you only need a little, like a 1-inch circle. But what I found is that it makes it just a little bit easier for me to work with it. I have a touch of arthritis in my fingers, and sometimes it's hard for me to hold this together like this and put a little wee circle on there. And a big one doesn't hurt because you're not going to see it anyway. I'm just going to put some hot glue on the disc on the back of here. What I used for these was, I have a whole pile of these old index cards. They're thin. They're not a good quality index card at all. I used to write just little notes and stuff on them. So I just folded one in half and cut the biggest circle I could cut out of it, and then glued one on the back of there and one on the back of there. So I'm just going to put some hot glue on the back of this, and I'm going to come back and put it on here. So there, I got hot glue on it. And I am going to press that down onto there. Oh, and look at how pretty this is going to be. Isn't that nice? I was hoping this brown paper would give this cream colored flower a nice background, and it does. This is going to make a nice wand, I think. Absolutely pretty. So I'm going to do the other one. So hot glue, get it in the center and push it down. Oh yeah, these are going to be gorgeous. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. It's nice when we can make things that make us happy, isn't it? They are. So these are big, they're chunky, they're solid. And I'm going to put the wand in, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So I might move you back over to my messy desk and show you over there where I can actually reach with my hot glue gun. So I've got one glued on the straw, and I'll show you how I did that. So all I did was turn it over to the back. I'm sure most of you know how to do these, but they're new to me. So I figured that they must be new to somebody else too. So I figured I'd share. I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm going to go into one of these ones that's open, you know, fairly wide. I'm going to point it way down in there underneath this piece of paper towards the center. And I'm going to give 2 or 3 big squirts in there so that I can fill that up with glue. And then I'm going to just run a little bead right out to the edge. Then I'm going to take my straw. I'm just going to pinch the end like that, just a little bit. And I'm going to put it in that hot glue, and I'm going to shove it all the way in there so that that runs all the way along the edge of the straw, and it mounts it, and it's gonna make it nice and firm and mount it right in there. And there we have it. I got this great big long. So I have this curling ribbon, and I've took about 2 or 3 yards, folded it back and forth on itself. So I've got, you know, about 16 strands, 16 to 18 strands, and I'm going to just put this, I tied it in a loop, but I didn't pull it tight to finish the knot. So I'm going to put it down here, tie it on, and I'm going to shove it right off into here. But I'm going to put some hot glue on there so I can pull that in there and tighten it right down into the hot glue. Make it a good tight. Here, let's see if I can find that one that's... Whoa, don't bend your straw. There, get that nice and tight. So what I want to do is I'm going to cut the ends of this, and then I'm going to curl this ribbon so I have a nice big... There, so all I'm going to do is take the ends like this and snip through them on both of these ends, these sides. And then I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to use my little scissors for this. Spin my... These ones will work good. These little rounded kid scissors are great for this. So, because you don't poke yourself with these. So I'm going to take these ribbons, and I'm going to take one strand at a time, put my scissors on there and my thumb, and everybody knows how to do this, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to curl all these strands up. So that's what I have so far. Let me move you up a little bit so you can see it better. So there it is. That's what I have so far. And I'm thinking that these colors, hopefully, I'm like thinking that these colors will look nice. When I do my coffee sleeve, I kind of just want to stick this in as one of my embellishments because we're supposed to make, we're supposed to include some of our own embellishments. And quite frankly, I don't mind sharing my bling and things like that. It's not about not sharing, but I'd rather make something for somebody. When I'm doing these swaps, what I'm sending comes from my heart. And when it comes from my heart, it's usually homemade. So this will be one of my embellishments for that. And when I put that coffee sleeve together, I will definitely film it and share it, but I just thought I'd share this idea for the little wand just in case somebody wanted something plain and simple to do. And I might cut a piece of the backing paper and put a piece of backing paper on here too as well, the same brown paper, or even something that's coordinating, but I'll finish the back as well. So that's it. If you liked this little video, please give it a thumbs up. Yep. And don't forget to comment, share, and if you're not already a subscriber, I hope you decide to join us for the next video. So bye-bye for now, everybody. Have a great day.